There's this idea of speaking the truth in love. Truth being about sharing what we know and believe to be good and right and true, but doing it in a way that is motivated by and fueled by love, care, and respect for the person that we're communicating with. And doing this well enables this to be received way better by other people. This video is following on in this little series of taking business, branding, marketing concepts and applying them to the way that we show up in the world every day to be received better by other people. The best tool that we have for demonstrating love is this idea of empathy. And this is a really key business concept that I just want to pull some more learnings from today so that we can understand a bit better what it looks like to show up with empathy, why that's so powerful, and how to do it well. This is important for all kinds of relationships, right through from business negotiations all the way to trying to make friends with someone for the first time. Because really, all healthy relationships are founded on trust. Trust is that central thing that sits at the core of all good relationships. And the easiest way to establish that trust is to demonstrate empathy. Helpful definition for empathy is to be able to see and understand the world through someone else's eyes. It's not the same as sympathy. It's not about agreeing with someone's perspective. You don't need to even like the way that someone thinks to have empathy. You just need to be able to understand why they might think what they think and see the world from their point of view, whether you like it or not. That's empathy. Demonstrating empathy is about being able to show that to the person or group of people that you're talking to. It's fine to just have empathy, but it's so much more powerful if you can demonstrate that you have that in conversation, in communication, to be able to get that trust established right from the start. So how do we do that? Well, empathy starts off with the same thing that all communication starts with, which is listening. For some reason, we've got this warped idea that communication is about us sending words and ideas and sentences out into the world and hoping they connect with someone. But really good communication needs to start with listening and understanding where our audience, whether it's one person we're talking to or a whole crowd full of people, where they're at, what they want, what they're scared of, where they want to get to, and being able to demonstrate that back to them unlocks this level of trust that would never have been possible before. We can be so quick in our culture to talk about our ideas, talk about why we're right, talk about why the other person is wrong. And sometimes there's a place for that. And when we go back to speaking the truth in love, sometimes we understand something that the person we're talking to really doesn't. And it's important for us to communicate that truth with them. We need to do that. We need to get better at doing that. But this only gets received well when it's done with love. People often can't hear or understand what you're saying unless they first of all feel like they've been heard and understood. And that's why I'm making this video. It's why it's so important for empathy to be at the start of all of our relationships, all of our communication, because people don't trust you. People don't understand what you're saying. They don't listen to your ideas unless they themselves feel like you've heard them, you've understood them. Whether you agree with them or not, it's not relevant. For some reason, we've connected agreeing and understanding together as if we can't even suggest we understand someone's point of view unless we completely agree with them. But it's really important to show that we can understand someone, because then our relationship is suddenly a safe place. Whether this is a work relationship or a personal relationship, it becomes a safe space as soon as there's some level of empathy established. And so that's really important. And it's something that we can all be getting better at and practicing in a whole bunch of different ways. Businesses make empathy a really critical part of their communication strategy when they're trying to reach people. The two elements of trust really are authority and empathy. So going back to the start, it is really that truth and love idea. They come hand in hand, but they also walk this fine line where it's really easy to fall off one side or the other. So authority, empathy, truth, love. So most businesses have got a general consensus with their target audience that they know what they're talking about. Usually businesses are pretty good at shoving a load of testimonials and case studies and reviews and this is what we've done in the past, stories that convince people they know what they're talking about. That's normally fine. The thing that's way more important often to get right, and often quite hard to get right, is the more emotional side of sales and marketing. It's about connecting with individuals. That's really how we work as people. We don't connect with big businesses and brands. We connect in a feeling sort of way. And so more recently, as companies are getting better at marketing, advertising, branding themselves, they're tapping into feelings and connection and how to do that well. And empathy is the tool they use to do that. So when you go on a good business website, They don't just tick all the authority boxes. They don't just know their stuff, but they shape everything in such a way that it connects with you if you're their ideal audience. So they've put a lot of time, a lot of research into trying to understand who they're selling to. Not just the demographics, the age, where they come from, what job they do, but also the psychographics, fancy word for what they like, what they think about, what they want, what they're scared of, what their personality might look like. And you get all these big businesses forming these really in-depth, quite complex personality profiles of the ideal person they're trying to communicate with. And through that, they shape all of their marketing, all their advertising, all the stuff they put out there to connect specifically with you, if you're the kind of person they want to reach. And I'm suggesting that we can pull ideas from that into how we communicate so that we can essentially speak the language of the people that we're trying to connect with in our day-to-day. For some reason, we just assume that everyone will take us as we are and take our message, as we say it, speak our language. But I think I'm suggesting that we might want to think about putting in a bit more effort to speak the language of those around us in order to connect better. There is a whole load of research about this. There's articles and books, massive resources on how to do this well. But I just want to share one idea. People talk about matching people's energy, matching people's language, using similar words to what other people use. And I made a couple of videos about that sort of thing already. I think one of the most powerful ways that we can demonstrate empathy, once we've listened, once we've heard, once we've understood where they're at, is to communicate some sort of shared goal with someone. As soon as two people have got a shared goal, they're trying to get in some way to the same place, whether it's, this kind of big philosophical vision for how the world should look, or whether it's just as simple as, we support the same team, or we like the same clothes, or whatever it is. As soon as we recognize that someone else has a similar goal to us, a similar vision to us, no matter how big or how small, it forms a level of connection. Because it's just something that reinforces this empathy of, oh, this person slightly sees the world through my eyes, a bit more than I was expecting them to. And that's huge. And so I think just a little tip for communication with anyone, business or personal, keep coming back to that because it's really important, this applies across the board, is to be on the lookout, and small talk is a really great tool for this, be on the lookout for areas, no matter how small or how big, that you can connect with someone else's desire, someone else's dream, someone else's hope for the world. Tap into what someone else wants and work out where you sit on exactly the same place as them and you've got something in common straight away. But it's not just something in common, it's something in common about what you both want, which comes back to the emotional thing of sales. When you have a shared vision of what you both want, it weirdly ties people together in a way that breaks down a lot of the walls of trust that are so often there, making relationships harder. So that's my little tip for today. Play with it, see what you think. Let me know if you have any thoughts or ideas or questions. But it's just something I'm trying to learn and practice at the moment as I try and be a better me in the way that I show up and connect and engage with people in the world every day.